Hey everybody, welcome to a Cricut craft tutorial. Today I'm going to show you guys how to do some print and cut iron-on, and we are going to use the Avery brand for dark shirts. And I'm going to make this kind of boy themed. A lot of you were looking for some Marvel heroes. So all I did was I just went on Google and I found a Marvel hero grouping that I liked. So all I'm going to do is go to my image or upload button, upload image, and browse, and all I'm going to do is go to my Cricut folder and find that picture that I found on Google. Now remember, these are copyrighted. You cannot sell these shirts, but you can absolutely make them for your own use. I'm going to go ahead and just select complex and click continue. Now I don't want to clear off any of this stuff because we're going to go ahead and use it. So we're going to go ahead and click continue, and we want to save this one as a print then cut image, which is on the left hand side. So go ahead and click save, and it's going to take a minute because it does have a lot of colors and stuff. So usually these ones do take a little bit longer. A lot of people think Design Space is down. It's not. It's just slow with some of these more colorful images. That's just how it works. I don't know why. We're going to go ahead and put a little boy's name in this, so I think it'd be really fun to use these like cutout letters. And for whatever reason, I think a lot of people's Design Space will do this, where you make your picture bigger and it doesn't show right away, so don't panic if it doesn't. So all I'm going to do is add some text, and let's make this boy is going to be named Joey. I have no idea. It just seemed like an easy name. So my font I can't really see very well on this picture, so I'm just going to scoot it over here for a second. And we're going to pick a thicker, blocky font for this so that you get a lot of picture in the letters. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this one. I think this one works great. This is Arial Black. It's one of my favorites when it comes to like the chunky fonts. And I'm going to make this really, really big. And I'm probably going to go ahead and actually do an unlock on it because I want to be able to kind of make it longer too so that I can get a lot of the superheroes in here. And when you unlock it, you can actually stretch it so that it's like this, and you can fit it onto your picture. So that's a little bit too big, and I wanted to take as much of this picture as I can. And what I may end up doing, I think we're going to go ahead and ungroup this because it's going to be easier to make sure that I get all of my superheroes in here. And I'm going to see what happens if I click bold on this as well and see if it goes any fatter. It doesn't really, so what I may do is change my font. I want something super fat just because, like I said, I want to get as many of these guys' faces in here as I can. So sometimes you just have to play around and see what you can find that's kind of a chunkier, thicker font. And sometimes if you bold them, they do become really, really fat, which is nice. And you can actually ungroup them and spread them out if you want to. Just depends on how you want to do it. So I'm just going to look for a minute and see. Ooh, that one is definitely not it. If I can find kind of a chunky font to use. I try not to use anything that has really thin lines in it just because those won't show the picture very well. Sometimes Franklin Gothic's pretty good. This honestly though is just a personal preference thing, and you can find some super blocky fonts on some of the websites like DeFont and some of those other types like that. I actually think this one's pretty good. So let's go with this. This is something I can't pronounce because it's German. So I am sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this because I want to make sure that I can get like their faces, or at least some of the main characters' faces. So once you ungroup, you can move each letter individually. So I see here I have Thor and Iron Man right here. So I'm going to put my J right on top of those guys. This is where we're going to use slice. And you can only slice two things at once. So we're going to just do each letter individually. So I'm going to go ahead and slice out the J by selecting the J and selecting the big picture and then just clicking slice. And what you'll see is it's going to eventually pop the picture back up, and we don't need this big black J anymore. We need this one. We still need to keep the picture, so let's move this J kind of out of the way. And we'll do the O next because it comes next in line. And for some reason, Design Space likes to put your picture right back in front. And when it does that, your letter goes behind it, so you can't see where your letter is going to cover. So all you have to do is right-click on the big picture and just tell it move to back. and all that's going to do is put it in the back of your picture. Now on this one, I see I have Captain America and some other dudes and Wolverine and Spider-Man. We're going to try to get on the E, so let's go ahead and slice him right here. Again, select the letter, select the big picture, and select slice. Again, going to bring the picture back in, takes a second. We can get rid of the big one, and we can move the O out of the way. I do this so that I can make sure that I'm not overlapping my letter and trying to slice. So then we're going to bring in the E, and see how it did it again? So just right-click, move to back, and you can move the E. Now I want to make sure I get Spider-Man in here, and I think he's pretty much the main character that's right there. So let's move him so he's kind of in there. And let's get this guy's face, this red guy. And we're just going to select the letter and select slice. And again, takes a second to come back up. We don't need the black E. You can just delete that. And there's your E. And now the Y. The Y, I want to make sure that I get this Hulk on here. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the back. Because again, I think the Hulk is one of the main characters. I'm not super good with these Marvel characters. So you want to just make sure that your Y is in the whole picture. Select the Y, select the picture, and select slice. Again, takes a second to come back. It's just how it is. Do not know why. Actually, don't even know where my Y went. So what we'll do, let's go ahead and click undo. And click undo again. And see if we can figure out why that happened. And sometimes Design Space just has issues. So select the Y, select the picture, and select slice. And hopefully this time it will come out fine. And it did. So get rid of your Y. And let's move this Y out of the way. This time we can get rid of the big picture. We don't need it anymore. And here's our name. So we're just going to use the name Joey. And all I'm going to do now is line up my letters. So I'm just going to make sure that the bottom of my letters touches this bottom line here so that they're all lined up. And we're going to put them pretty close together because I want them to look like the whole picture without being too crazy. You can see part of Spider-Man here. So I think that's pretty well done. Now from this point you can make it bigger so that it covers your whole shirt. I'm going to use, and I have it way too big right now, but I'm going to use a child's size. I believe I have a small on this one. I have a small black shirt that I got. I found mine at the Dollar Tree, and it is medium child. So what I like to do when I'm doing these is I will measure my shirt before I figure out what size I want to make this. But because this is a print and cut, we can only go so big. So remember, a print and cut will only do 9, I think it's 9.25 by 6, or I can never remember the exact measurements, but it's either way, it's fairly small. But because it's a child shirt, it doesn't need to be very big. We could get away with doing it at about 9 inches wide. So let's go ahead and make that about 9 inches wide. Go down to 9, maybe a little under 9. And it's only going to be about 3.5 inches tall. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to attach my letters, because I want them to stay in the order that I have them, and I want them to stay laid out just like that. We're going to go ahead and click Make It. And you'll see it pulls up our letters and this black box. And that black box is going to print, and that's okay because that's how the Cricut reads where it's supposed to cut. So let's go ahead and click Continue. And I'm going to send it to my printer. And I don't know how well you guys can see this, but if you turn on bleed, it gives you like kind of fat, chubby letters. And if you turn it off, the letters are skinnier. I'm going to leave my bleed on because that's going to make sure I don't have any white around the outside of my letters. So let's go ahead and print it. We'll go over to the printer and I'll show you guys how to print. We're using the Avery brand for darks. I recommend this. The colors are brighter, even if you're using a light shirt. Make sure that you load your paper the correct way, so know which way that your printer prints. Some of it will print on the paper if it faces out, and some will print on the back of the paper. So I know that mine prints on the front, so I just make sure that I load that correctly. Sometimes you may want to do a test cut and print, or print and cut. just to make sure that everything is in working order, everything looks correct, and it goes ahead and prints and cuts correctly. We're also just going to use a home iron. This is a steam iron with no water in it. We've had it for a couple years. I just use it because I don't have a heat press. So we're going to get this printing, and I don't know how well you guys can see, but see, it's coming out here, and there's the black box around it, and you can see the letters are a little bit chunky. So it's going to go ahead and print this out. I'll show you guys how to cut it in just a minute, and then we can apply it to our shirt. Before we can cut this out, we do need to set a custom material on this, and I'm going to have to see if I can find what I'm looking for, because I'm not sure what it's under. I can't remember. I think it's under Iron On. It is. So Printable Iron On Dark. Go ahead and click Done on that. And it's going to tell us that we can go ahead and load our mat. So I'll get you guys all set up and we will cut it out. We are ready to cut. So we're going to make sure that we choose our custom material, which we did. And then we are going to make sure that we load this onto a mat. I am using a blue mat. I am doing that because of the fact that this is a little bit, I would say like sticky for, or not sticky. The green mat will rip it basically because there's like a paper backing on this, and you guys will see that here in just a second. I want to make sure all my corners are pressed down. That one kind of caught. So we're going to go ahead and let it cut, and you'll see it's going to read our registration mark. So it pulls it all the way in, pushes it all the way back out, and then it starts to read the marks. And I don't know how you guys can see it on the camera, but there is a light, and that's what reads your registration marks. I see a lot of people having problems with it reading your registration marks. 2 tips. Make the light in your room less, so maybe turn off your overhead light, or you can just close the lid on your machine, and that will help give it a shadow. And also make sure that there's nothing blocking the back of your machine. If there is something blocking the back of your machine, it will bump your paper and it can cause it to misread your marks. So you're going to see it's going to cut out each letter individually. We're going to have it do that so that we don't have any of this white background on our shirt. And it's just going to cut around every piece of the letter and the middle of the O. And as soon as it's done doing that, I'm going to pull them off the mat. I'm going to pull it off of the backing so that you can see, because you don't iron it on this backing like you would with some of like the HTV, the regular iron-on, the solid stuff, and even some of the printed that needs the mask on top. This does not. This just needs a piece of paper that they include in the box for you, as well as just your iron and a towel. So I'm going to pull one of these off real quick. Let's take it off of the mat really fast. It doesn't matter too much if you curl it, just because they're going to lay flat regardless. So you'll see, all you do is just kind of get a corner going and just carefully peel it off. And you can see there's this right here on the back of these. I love this feature on these because it makes it easier to peel them. So once you can get them started a little bit, you can just pull them right off. So see, there's the Y. And you see it's kind of flimsy, it's real thin. But that's what I like about the Avery, is that they have that slit in the back of their paper so that it will automatically kind of peel it off for you. So we're going to go ahead and get our letters pulled off. I'm going to grab a towel and we will get the iron heated up. The one thing I will say, make sure that you do heat your iron to the highest setting for the fabric that you're using. The shirt I'm using is a 100% cotton shirt, so we're going to go ahead and set our iron to cotton. When we come back, we can get it ironed on. We're going to go ahead and iron on our letters. So I wanted to show you before I put the sheet down on top of them what they look like on the shirt. Now I did just eyeball these, so they may not be 100% perfect. However, do you ever wear a shirt perfectly straight? No one does. But I did make sure that it's about 2 fingers. This one's actually a little more like 3 from the top, but I think in this shirt it'll do fine being a little bit further down, especially for a child. I usually use the tag as a center strip, so I just used the tag and centered it between the O and the E. So all you're going to do is cover it with this paper. It's basically just like a thicker tissue paper. And then take your iron, I said, remember, set it to your hottest setting for the fabric that you're using, and just press it down. Now in the instruction sheet, which let me see if I can pull that out while this is ironing. Hold on one second. And you can leave that sit for just a minute. You don't have to move it around. I just want to read it to you. It says that place the transfer design face up on garment if desired. So that's one thing I should mention to you guys. If you're doing a print and cut like this, and my iron does beep a lot, it's insane, what you need to do not mirror it, because you're not going to put it on upside down like you do with the normal heat transfer vinyl. Cover the transfer with the provided tissue paper. When ironing the transfer, make sure to apply firm pressure slowly from left to right, top to bottom, and on each corner. And then turn off the iron when finished. So basically don't burn your house down. I'd still press these because I didn't want them to slide around. And I pretty much just try to do it in just a general pattern. But just like with regular iron-on, you're going to want to add pressure. So what I do is I'll give it light pressure to start, just to get it tacked down so that it doesn't slide around as I'm doing this. And then as I go, I will add pressure to it. Now I want to show you, and we can take a look at it right now. You can see that it is adhering a little bit, and you can see a few spots where it's not, like especially right here on the bottom of the J. And I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it is lifted a little bit. So we know where we need to put some more pressure. This stuff is going to be a lot softer than your iron-ons, especially your glitters and your holographics. This stuff is incredibly thin, but it is really easy to use, and it's fun, and it does last for quite some time as long as you do follow your washing directions. I will put a link down in my comments section there below where you guys can purchase this. I bought it on Amazon because it was the best price I had found for it. You can buy it at Walmart and things too, but it was only about, I think, $5 on Amazon, and I got, I don't know, 10 sheets, I think? Oh, I got 5 sheets. So I got quite a few sheets, which is great. Now the washing instructions do say, wait 24 hours before washing, wash the garment before wearing, but you're going to want to turn it inside out, cold water, use color-safe detergent, and wash separately from other clothes. Don't bleach. You're going to remove promptly as colors may bleed if left wet for too long, which all makes sense because this is just printed on there. Tumble dry low on the lowest heat setting. Do not iron directly on transfer once it has been applied. Transfer image is not intended to withstand stretching other than normal wear and tear. So you would not want to put this on like a lady's shirt that is going to stretch across the bust. You're not going to put this on like what I like to refer to as the schmedium that some of little body lifters wear, or if you're going to the gym in it, things like that. Now it wants us to let this cool before we peel this, but I'm a rebel. I'm peeling it up. I am a rebel. I will say I did put a towel, and I forgot to show you guys, but there is a towel under here just to protect my work surface. And all I'm going to do is just kind of go around the edges, and I see that that slid a little bit. I don't think that one adhered very well. That J just does not want to stick, like at all. The J did not stick. The other letters are stuck just fine. I don't know why the J doesn't want to stick, but it doesn't. So we'll just go back over it. We'll just make sure that we do put a lot of pressure for some reason on this J. It just didn't want to stick. Everything else is stuck down perfectly fine. It feels nice and flat. Every once in a while, guys, you'll run into this. Don't get frustrated. It does happen that you'll get one piece that for whatever reason doesn't like that part of your fabric. And it could be just because it's right on the edge of the towel as well. So I just want to make sure that I do press it really, really well with a lot of pressure, because that one just, for some reason, just doesn't want to play nice with the others. Now, you'll notice that I have both hands on this, and I am pushing very, very hard. I'm doing that because, clearly, this J just wants to be a big, smelly jerk face. So I'm going to double check it now and see. Yep, and now it's stuck just fine. I think it just wasn't getting enough pressure because the edge of the towel is right here. And it's a little bit of a lip, so it probably wasn't pressing on it very, very hard. So when you do this, make sure that you know what's under it, especially if you put a towel under it. Now we are to let it cool for a while, and then we can wear it after we wash it. But I think this comes out really fun Kids will absolutely adore these types of things. You can do this with family pictures. You can do this on blankets, things like that. But there's a lot that you can do with this printable vinyl. And this isn't technically, it's vinyl, but it's not the type that you would imagine it to be, because it is very, 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 very soft. But I'll just show you the package again. This is what you're looking for. And you can see how vibrant these colors are. I think they came out really beautifully. And make sure that when you use this, you do have an inkjet printer. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. If you're looking for any tutorials, please post that below as well. Do you guys have a favorite Marvel character? If so, let me know. I want to make some more tutorials with these guys because they are a lot of fun to do. Make sure you hit that bell icon because I post new videos all the time. And subscribe to my channel. We'll be doing a giveaway really, really soon for some really cool items. So make sure that you're subscribed because that's the only way you'll know when our giveaway happens. Have a great day.